So, as an example, let's say you're a poor defenseless Riot dev Yumi main, and you're just losing all your games. 0-6, 0-6, 2-7, 1-7, 0-3. This guy is an inter. We should ban this guy immediately. Clearly, he's trolling his team. I just suck. And obviously, I'm being a little hyperbolic, but what I'm getting at is the danger of just ban the inters is you have to be able to detect them, and you have to avoid false positive, because you don't want to ban people that are just having a bad game.
So today I want to just talk a little bit more about the state of solo queue, especially in North America, as that is the server that I play on. Don't know what it's like in other regions, but I'm fairly confident in saying that North America has the worst solo queue experience of any region, or at least any major region solo queue in the world. So over the last couple weeks, I've played a solid amount. Probably 30 or so games in the last week. I've climbed from Emerald 1 to Diamond 1, and since I hit Diamond 1, which normally isn't too difficult to get through, I've been stuck there. I haven't been able to get into Master, which is typically like pretty easy for me to do. And I'm playing these games, and I'm watching how they turn out, the actual gameplay, and I'm consistently just baffled by the lack of quality in these games. People just don't care. And people have egos. People ain't grief for whatever reason. And sure, you could look at the base problem of players like this, who just enter games and run it down for no reason, and say, yeah, that's the problem in solo queue. But in my opinion, the problem is the fact that Riot won't do anything about it, and really even refuses to acknowledge that a problem exists. This has been getting worse for years. I've been playing League a long time, and it didn't used to be this way. The games used to be much higher quality, and you could pretty consistently get a game with 10 people just trying their best to play a league, trying their best to win the game. And that's really what solo queue should be. It should be a strong, competitive environment with 10 people just trying to win, because that's what solo queue is about. It's competition at its core. It's about winning. And to say the least, that's not anything that solo queue has to offer in its current state. The clip that I played at the beginning, I've watched numerous times, and I'm just completely baffled. I don't want to single out Riot August, but as one of the only or few vocal spokespeople of Riot, I'm going to use him as a generalization for the whole team and say that they genuinely don't care about making solo queue a successful, rewarding, competitive environment. They just don't. They don't give a single F about solo queue. And the fact that it's gotten this bad in this season 2024 is a testament to that, in my opinion. The fact that if you're in Riot and your justification for the games being this low quality is that it's too hard to differentiate between actual inters and people who are just having a bad game, I believe you're delusional. I believe that you're completely detached from reality. I believe that you have no clue what you're talking about, and that you're either just living in denial about the state of your product, or you're just lazy and don't care, and the entire game is just a cash grab. So, like I said, I've been playing a solid amount for the past couple weeks, and the games have just been absurdly low quality. I had a streak of maybe 4 or 5 games of, whether they were wins or losses, of games where people DC'd early and just AFK'd, so the game ended at like 7 or 10 minutes, or where people would just, one thing would go wrong early, or one play would go bad, and they would just give up, start flaming, and start running it down. I had a top lane Vladimir who went 0-3 in lane, and then just walked down into bot lane bush and stood there for the rest of the game. It's this kind of stuff where it's like, okay, if I'm going to lose LP for this, then the person who's doing this needs to be punished. And they're not. They're just not. The people who go AFK and DC at 7 minutes, or the people who intentionally grief like multiple games in a row, are never punished. I go into games or into match histories of my teammates after games, and I see consecutive games, consistent performances of 1 in 13, 4 in 13, 1 in 9, 0-7, and I just ask myself, is this really just having a bad game? And the answer to that is no. The phrase just having a bad game doesn't exist. We're in season 14. This is the 14th year of League of Legends lifespan. Players don't just have bad games anymore, especially when chat exists, toxicity exists in numerous forms, and you can see clearly how players give up, don't care, stop trying, for whatever reason. Maybe it's preserving their ego or just trying to tear someone down to make themselves feel better for being stupid. It's unfortunate that this is the state of things. It's unfortunate that Riot refuses to acknowledge or do anything about it. The interesting thing to me is that Riot has been cracking down over the past few years really hard on chat abuse. And while sure, that's a pretty good thing to do in my opinion, in what way does it actually improve the competitive experience in solo queue? There have been mute buttons for the entire existence of League of Legends, to my knowledge. If someone's being toxic in chat, you click the mute button, and then you report them after the game. And it's pretty simple. So why do you have to crack down this hard on chat abuse when you've already implemented simple solutions that the players can do themselves to the problem? The players don't have any solutions to their teammates inting and griefing games. There's no solution for me to be sitting in bot lane, farming away and winning lane. There's no solution to me watching my top jungle go 2 and 15 and just completely int the game. There's no solution to that as a player. And so Riot's, efforts in improving solo queue are very misplaced. And at its core, I don't actually think anyone really cares about chat abuse. People have experienced far more toxic things in gaming than, being called a retard or the occasional racial slur. That used to happen all the time in the early 2000s Call of Duty days. It's just the fact that we live in a culture that's so quick to be offended and is constantly looking for ways to be offended and reasons to feel badly about things so they can feel like a victim and then feel rewarded when their victim mindset is addressed. The whole chat abuse thing, I agree that toxicity in chat is not a good thing. I also think that when such huge, more pressing issues exist in a game, that it shouldn't be as high up on the list as it has been for Riot. The inting and griefing and just general state of quality in solo queue right now is of far greater importance than people being toxic in chat. Maybe if they added in voice chat in the game, that would improve it. Maybe if they just reminded people that the mute button exists, that could be another solution. There are plenty of available solutions to text chat abuse. There have been for literally the entire existence of the game. But the fact that Riot just doesn't want to try to improve solo queue is unfortunate to say the least, but it's also really demotivating for players to play every day. Again, I don't know what it's like for other regions out there. Feel free to let me know down in the comments, or even if you're from North America, what your experience has been like playing solo queue this year. Mine has not been good, and I've been the least motivated to play this year out of the entirety of my League career. And I don't want that to be the case. I love League. It's a really good game. But just the people that play it and the people that ruin this experience aren't enjoyable to deal with. And there's going to be no shortage of them, and that's not going to stop unless Riot does something about it. So get the word out there that solo queue is in a complete trash state, and that Riot needs to, get their head out of their asses and do something about it. It's been going on for far too long. It's been getting worse for far too long. And solo queue is quite honestly unplayable. I just played multiple games in a row with inting supports as ADC. I was in a 2 versus 1 lane. My Janna went like 0-4 and then just started running topside. She ended 1-9. Like, okay, maybe she shouldn't be permabanned, but she should certainly get more of a punishment for running down the game than I should for calling someone a retard. And, maybe it's not the best use of chat in that case from me. But I should be able to risk offending someone in the efforts of winning the game rather than someone not being punished for actually intentionally losing the game, if any of that made sense. Like I said, Riot's efforts in improving solo queue are completely misplaced. Whether or not they're unaware or just unwilling to make improvements to solo queue, I don't know. But there's a reason I showed that clip at the beginning of the video. Riot is delusional if they actually believe that it's too hard to differentiate between actual inters and people who are just having a bad game. If you actually believe that people just have bad games, I don't know what to tell you. You're a bit lost. So I know this has been a bit repetitive and a bit rambly, but I just wanted to express my sentiment yet again at how atrocious North American solo queue is at the current moment. I play consistently in Master Plus. I've been there for years, and this is by far the worst it's ever been. And after every game where I get a 1-13 top who's literally just running it, or a 26 death Twitch, I ask myself, is this really the top 1% of the player base in North America? Because statistically it is. And in practicality, it's a complete joke. So rioters just need to become aware. Or, like I said, get their heads out of their butts and do something about it. Because the way it's been going in the recent years is not sustainable, and people are eventually just going to stop playing in the higher yellows because it's so low quality. People just don't care. And if you actually start banning people for this kind of inting and griefing consistently, then we can start to weed out those idiots and start to get the player base down to the people who actually want to play solo queue, actually want to win, and actually want to improve at the game. Which would be a really great. It's probably I'm dreaming. I'm probably dreaming, and I'm being the delusional one. But a man can hope. So, like I said, let me know what you guys think about the current state of solo queue. What your guys' experience has been this season. Mine has definitely not been a positive one. I've played not even 100 games in the season, and it's just very destructive in a lot of senses to continue to grind. So I don't know how much more I'm going to play this until something is done. But hey, who knows, man? Who knows? Anyways, that's all I got for this one. Thanks for watching. See you next time.